What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on a goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Welcome in, everybody. We are back here after another Chiefs victory, 3 in a row. Good to see it. 2 in a row. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. 2 in a row.
We are back.
We are back. We're so back. We're back, baby. We've never been more back. Chiefs take out the trash, the silver and black Basuda in Arrowhead for their first noon game of the season, in which they beat the Raiders 31-0. And honestly, it could have been significantly worse if they were not nice and took everybody out, midway through the third quarter as well. I'm with my co-hosts DG and CJ, who of course have a lot of money on NBA opening night and will be distracted throughout this podcast.
I'm focused. I'm a multitasker.
I'm here, but I'm here.
I'm here and I'm here.
Both of y'all looking off to the side. Vibes were great with what the Chiefs were able to accomplish, obviously, versus the Raiders. Utter dominance, the historic dominance. We went over that in the post game. You go back and see the belt segment if you want to hear about some of those stats again. But basically, just surmise the game. The Chiefs had as many first downs, 30, as the Raiders did offensive plays, 30. So that's really just brings it all into picture as far as how much the dominance was. How fun was that to watch, DG and CJ? Because obviously, like the game against the Raiders, against the Lions, was like to perform that level and have the offense perform that well against a really good opponent. It was a really good opponent, no matter how many people tried to gaslight you about the Lions defense all of a sudden being bad versus the Chiefs. Clearly, the Buccaneers found out how good it actually was. How did it feel to have just an utter dominant performance from start to finish from this team, man? We haven't felt that in a minute.
Been a while. This is the last blowout we had at home since that Bears game 2 years ago in 2023. We blew them out at home.
The Ravens game was a blowout, obviously. And I want to say that, but this was like not even like they didn't even have
not even close
glimmer of hope the entirety of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember the last time that we felt like that level.
I'll tell you that Bears game was probably the last one when Trav scored and Taylor first time coming to Arrowhead. That's probably the last time I felt like, and I was at that game. So Justin Fields had like no hope of moving the ball. Obviously, it wasn't like a complete shutout. They got some points on the board, but outside of that Baltimore game, it's probably the last time I felt like, man, we really just like took someone's soul out of their chest. And to do it against the Faders, it's no better team I would rather shut out and have a great game against. So it was the best Sunday ever. I talked hella trash to my uncles who are Raiders fans. I was in the group family chat going crazy. I'm about to go to church and collect hella bread. So it was fun. It was a good day. It was a good day to be a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, listen, growing up, 12-year-old kid, man, I lived in a neighborhood that was mixed with Black and Hispanic people.
Same.
And all the Hispanic kids were Raider fans, man.
Facts.
And Raider Week used to come up, and this is in the early 2000s, so the Raiders were actually pretty good back then. Rich Gannon, Tyrone Wheatley, and
Tim Brown, all the boys.
Tim Brown and Jerry Rice, and seeing those guys, Sebastian Janikowski.
Yes.
It used to be one of those things where, like, man, I just wish we could beat the Raiders one time. Like, if we don't beat any other team this season, just please beat the Raiders, just so I can go to school the next day and gloat. But yeah, the 12-year-old kid in me was aesthetically happy just because to blow out your rival, a team you just grew up. No matter, I don't care who they put on the field. I don't care who was hurt. I don't care any of that. Like, whoever they put on the field is BTA. And to see, this team go out there and execute the way that they did and just flawlessly just dismantle professionals on the other side, especially after Devin White did all that talking in the earlier in the week, how he wasn't scared and You know, I was like, yeah, he's definitely cooked. But yeah, it was great, man. Just to see this team execute at all three phases of the game, special teams, offense, defensively. It was amazing to see, man. The offense is, I think they're in a mold that, like,
flow state right now.
Yeah, bro. Like
they flowing right now.
They look virtually unstoppable at this point. To keep, going up and down the field. I think 3 straight possessions before halftime to put up 21 points and just make it look easy was just phenomenal to see. So I'm definitely happy where this team is. Definitely happy that it was against our rival for sure. I'm so glad. It
couldn't happen to a worse team, bro.
It feels amazing.
So happy, bro.
Throw them out, man. Like
any team.
There's no other team. I hate a lot of teams in this league, but there's a disdain, a certain disdain for the Raiders, and I'm just glad it was them. So,
yeah, I don't blame you one bit. I mean, obviously, like, we have our So here's the thing: the way that a lot of people categorize it, if you were of a certain age, particularly really in the early days, the Raiders-Chiefs is the most violent, most nasty rivalry as far as the AFC West is concerned. Then you get into the 90s and a little bit of the Broncos-Chiefs really started to take hold, and then it really transitioned a little bit more into the Chiefs-Chargers because those were the two better teams, specifically post good Broncos teams with Peyton Manning for that short stretch too. But there's something about the Raiders, man. They are just annoying because they're, at least for the majority of my life, have been so bad. But they just act like they're this tough team that likes to push people around. And there was just nothing that made me feel better than seeing Antonio Pierce go on the after show for the broadcast and say, "They're the Chiefs. They play for December and January. They're always going to be better for the
no September."
After having the whole Chiefs formula, whatever, Mahomes rules. I just love it. I love every time that we can embarrass the Raiders. When we went 48-9 on them and 41-13, I think it was in 2021. I enjoyed it so much. It's so much fun to embarrass the Raiders because they always make it even that much better. Ashton Genty is 7 weeks into his NFL career. It's like, yeah, man, it's a cultural illusion around here. I don't know what to tell y'all.
You're light.
Should have ran slower on that 40, boy. You could have fell down the board.
Right.
Bad team, bro.
God bless. So it's just fun to take out the Raiders in that manner. And obviously, given the fact that Andy Reid likes to call all of his fun play calls against the Raiders, you see, obviously, we got the Mahomes acting job on the 4th and 1. And we also got a little Rashee Rice counter play that ultimately was going to go for a touchdown had not been for the false start. So very funny. Anyway, to dig into it, obviously the offensive takeaways, major headline, as I just said, EGE did return Mr. Rashee Rice, and we saw the fireworks. This was ruthless efficiency in the ways in which the Chiefs were able to attack on a consistent basis. It was honestly impressive to see, even though the Chiefs really had some bad field position for the majority of this game, which is kind of crazy to end up saying, but they legitimately, their first drives, like, it was 92 yards, 84 yards, 94 yards, and then a more regular 65 yards. And those were the first 4 drives of the game. They ended up going for touchdowns, obviously building the 28-point lead. And then had the 65-yarder right after halftime. Had the 65-yarder right after halftime and then another field goal on top of it to make it 31. It was utter dominance as far as the Chiefs' offense was concerned. And it was impressive, the way in which they were able to do it in a variety of ways. So first, big picture takeaways for you guys in terms of the offensive performance, and then we're going to get into a little bit of some details of it as well.
Overall, offensive takeaways, there's really, like, outside of like I said, our run game this year, the definition for me is efficient and effective. It's not explosive. Obviously, we don't have any like home run hitters outside of Brashard, and that's more so in the passing game with him. I'm glad to see him get his reps that we did see in between the tackles. That was good for his confidence. But overall, that's probably the only real weakness you could talk about this team is we're averaging less than 4 yards a carry right now. So it's not amazing, but the passing game is so glorious. Like DG just said, there's so many weapons and not many options you can't go to, whether it be man coverage, zone beaters, back shoulder fades, take the top off the defense. Really, Pat is probably the deepest set of weapons he's had in a very long time, if ever. There's really 5 receivers we can depend on. We got three tight ends we can use. All 3 running backs touch the ball in some way, shape, or form. The O-line is clicking at a high level. There's really like not too much to complain about this offense. And this is what we've been envisioning to see with this team for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, we had to wait a year and a half, over 380 days, as Rashee said. But when you get all these guys back on the field, it's scary. And some of them barely touched the ball, and this offense looked unstoppable. So it's only going to get better with more time, more reps, more details you can watch in your film sessions, more details you can get through in your walkthroughs. This team is going to be ultimately, in my opinion, I tweeted this out yesterday, I think we're going to have the #1 offense in the NFL by year's end. I truly believe that. I think Pat's in line for another MVP type season. Just as long as the good Lord keeps us healthy, we're going to be on a roll. So offensively, not too many negative points you can really complain about, honestly. You just want to just keep guys healthy and just keep it rolling now.
DG?
Yeah, I think, man, like CJ said, it's not too much to really complain about at this point in time. I think the thing that I'm intrigued by the most is that they've really tapped into a certain identity of being efficient and effective. The last couple of years we've talked about the explosive plays and the lack thereof. And I think this year you're starting to see the combination of not only the explosive plays, but at the same time, that effective efficiency, just moving the ball down the field, even if it's a 10-play, 11-play, 12-play drive, whatever. Like, we're just going to go methodically down the field, slow play you, take what's in front of us or whatever, and truly just, nickel and dime you to death until you get to the point where you get so annoyed with it that we'll finally just hit you over the top with an explosive play or something like that. So love what they've been doing. I think that they've gotten a lot better with how effective they've been in the red zone area as well too, which has been a struggle for them the last couple of years. I think that they've gotten a lot more creative, and it helps when you have a lot more better weapons this time around down in that area. I think Rashee Rice brings a tremendous amount of confidence in what they can do in the red zone. I think him and Pat have a connection now to where he knows that, at any given time I can go to this guy. He's going to make a play for me, So that level of trust is really starting to show, especially when you see it on that back shoulder fade. It's something that we went up to training camp and we saw them working on all training camp. And me and CJ, the first time we seen it at training camp, me and CJ said, look, if they get that together, it's going to be lights out for a lot of teams in this league, because that's something that a lot of the fan base has been asking, for a receiver in this offense to be able to do. And now you got that guy back. Not only now you add him along with having Xavier, along with having Hollywood, along with having Juju Smith-Schuster, who they're using as like a tight end 4 right now. And then combining that with the Yeti in there and Noah Gray and Big Bob Tunyon or whatever. And then the way this offensive line has kind of been playing, the physicality, the nastiness, especially in the interior, just hasn't lacked at all. Kingsley Suamataia continues to grow, especially alongside of Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey. There's a player I hope we get to see tonight where Rashee Rice touched. Creed Humphrey is the best center in the league. Like he's a nasty man. He literally tossed the dude into the dirt, and I loved every minute of watching him do that or whatever. But yeah, just the physicality and nastiness from this offensive line. The tackle play has been amazing as well too from Jawan Taylor. Being able to cut out the penalties, and then Jalen Moore stepping right in and taking over,
I just love that Kingsley's having fun, man. I just love that Kingsley's having fun.
Right. Yeah, and I think, it's amazing to see a guy get more comfortable in a position that he wasn't presented to play at all in his career at any point in time. And now to be able to step in and be able to not only use his athleticism at that position, but also use his physicality at that position. So yeah, it's just amazing to see. I agree with CJ. I think at the end of the year, this is, if they're not the best offense in the league, they'll definitely be hovering around top 5, and I think they're already doing that right now. So as long as they keep it up and being able to stay healthy and things of that nature, I don't see a lot of teams in this league being able to stop them, especially with the best quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think the emphasis there on the offensive line and the way that they performed, given the fact that Jawan Taylor did miss a portion of this game. Again, it was shoulder, and then that was a little bit later on into the game. Obviously, Trey Smith did miss a good portion of this game, and Matt Caliendo did a good job stepping at that right guard position. And obviously, the performance of Jalen Moore and Kingsley Suamataia, yeah, I mean, that everything starts with their dominance up front and their ability to make sure that Max Crosby wasn't going to have a major impact on this game. And they did a really good job of that during the time in which Max Crosby was, of course, in the game from that perspective, too. So I was impressed by the entirety of the offense. I could talk about the variety of weapons, and we'll talk about this in specificity in a little bit, but the attention to detail is really the most fun thing for me. And we'll talk about this with the screen passes specifically, but I thought the runs, they were willing to get under center and just get you 3 yards if needed, and to convert a lot of short yardage situations. Like you mentioned, like the ruthless efficiency was there because that 17-play, 84-yard drive and that 16-play, 94-yard drive, like that just takes the soul of a defense if you allow both of those within a quarter. And that's not to mention, obviously, then if you need to get more explosive, we'll talk about this. Like you get a 44-yard pass on that opening script from Mahomes to Kelsey, and you can just create those chunks, and it's a 9-play, 94-yard drive in which you average, close to 10 yards a play is impressive to be able to put that out there as well. So
Trey was able to run all the way over there and throttle down and still turn around. He was still wide open.
He had the time to, because look, and I broke this play down also on Twitter, but Hollywood Brown's going to take both of these safeties out of the picture. The vertical or I should say the horizontal underneath aspect of it with Gray, Pacheco, and Xavier Worthy releasing into the underneath aspect, hold everybody as far as the second level. And then Mahomes takes care of Roberts because Roberts has eyes on him and then hesitates for a second. And Mahomes has already thrown the ball to Kelsey for that chunk play. So this team has the ability to be explosive. Obviously, we saw the down the field shot to Tyquan Thornton as well later on in the game. They have the ability to be explosive down the field, and they also have the ability now to actually find some explosive runs, which is nice to see. And they can find it in the screen game, and then obviously they can hit you with the ruthless efficiency that is fun to watch too. So the overall the offense has been rounding into form, obviously, and I expect it to continue. Like you said, CJ, I think this is going to be one of the best offenses in the league, point blank period, no doubt about it. It's EGE. So let me see. Let me apologize for this. 49 rosters where this is. I would say this is Super Bowl.
Hey,
I think they got a little bit
for being a man and owning up to it.
Shout out to Harold for that. I think they may have a little bit of work to do on defense, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We're ranked 12th in rushing. That's actually surprising. Well, most of that's Pat, so that's not really.
Yeah, a lot of that is Pat carrying that, especially early on, obviously. But hey, look, he's not the leading rusher, at least on the team anymore. Shout out to Pacheco taking over that mark.
If you had told me where our rushing spot is, I would have not guessed 12th. So I'm actually pretty surprised.
I would not have either, but I will say they have done a really good job over the last few weeks of not only getting better in general, but certainly incorporating the under center stuff that we have wanted to see. So that's great to see. But let's go ahead and get to the Tell the Truth tape of the week, and we're going to talk about Brashard Smith and his screen games. And Brashard Smith again and I tweeted this out too. The usage of the 3 running backs is really falling into place. Isaiah Pacheco on the early down usage, being able to again bring his juice that he brings to the table. Again, he has his limitations, but he's still looking a little bit more like the older Pacheco that has a real burst in energy to the way that he runs as well. And he's finishing them at a certain level that you really enjoy, taking advantage of the holes that the offensive line creates. Kareem Hunt doing his short yardage thing and also trying to pop off some of them for a little bit more than short yardage as well. And then Brashard Smith, who adds a very specific element to this team, but because of his dual wide receiver running back type capabilities, it's a very important element for the way in which Andy Reid wants to run his offense. So the first one I'm going to show, and then I'm going to interrupt because of the way that it sets something up here. But Brashard Smith here is technically, this is 21 personnel because Brashard Smith's there. Pacheco's in the backfield. They got the tight end Gray and 2 wide receivers, Thornton and Hollywood Brown here, or is that Juju and Hollywood Brown? Juju and Thornton. There you go. I want to make that clear. They're going to run Gray and Juju as blockers to the top of the screen with a little bit of RPO action, going to the right side with Pacheco on the run fake. Get the ball out quickly to Brashard for the bubble. And this isn't like a spectacular play, but it is an easy 5-6 yards to start off a fresh set of downs. And that's not to say that like it's amazing, but what it does end up setting up is you could get to this a little bit later on into the drive and say, hey, what do we do off of that? We're going to give you the same look. No Gray going out. Juju Smith-Schuster coming into block. RPO action to the bottom of the screen with the play action. Bubble screen, Brashard Smith. And what are we going to do? We're going to have Noah Gray fake like he's going to block and then just roll up the sideline.
Wow.
And Mahomes is going to hit him for 36 yards down inside the 10. And I point that out specifically just to say this is the things that they get to because of the way in which they can diversify the weapons and the way Andy Reid gets to scheme up the use of those weapons to manipulate defense. And I love to see that. So I wanted to put that there. But we can get back to the screen game. So then we go a little bit later on. This is an interesting one. Smith, sometimes you see the running backs go into that little short motion out to the side from gun. He's already starting kind of in that position to start with some leverage as he's going to fake outside like he's going to the flat. And then you're going to get him going right back in and be able to create a little bit of angle. Obviously the classic Texas route. This is that, but a little bit shorter just to set up the screen for the offensive lineman to get in front of him. Opens up an alley for him to be able to get a few yards here. DG, was this the one you liked from Creed and Kingsley, or was it a different one? It was a touchdown for Rashee, right?
Yeah, it was a touchdown.
Okay,
no, but I still love this just because of Brashard's ability to get north is something that especially watching him at SMU was something that I love when coming out of watching his draft tape or whatever. He just has a knack of explosiveness, and I love the awareness to not do too much dancing and just get north with his speed. And it seemed like that's a point of emphasis that they've been trying to probably put on him at this point in time. Like, hey, grab the ball, get north, go forward. And it's working. These plays I feel like are an extension of the run game at this point in time. They are to me. I don't really. I know they're receptions. But I count them as carries at this point because, ultimately his position is to be running back. But these to me are ways for them to still be creative in their run game without having to put him in the backfield and put so much damage and wear and tear on his body and things of that nature, and use his explosiveness out in the open field because ultimately that's what he's going to be able to bring to this team. So I just think it brings another dangerous, dynamic weapon that teams now have to game plan for against the Chiefs, and it is. I know it's got to be. I'm sorry. I know it's got to be exhausting, week in and week out now to look at this team and say, well, like we got to prepare not only for Pacheco, not only for Kareem Hunt, but now this kid too is out there, especially in the spring game, just being a dynamic weapon for them. So. Yeah, shout out to Brashard, man. He has some great snaps. I'm glad that they really featured him a lot in this game too.
I did also want to point out excellent attention to detail, and this has always been something that I've talked about. Andy Reid does a great job with the screen game. The linemen know exactly where they need to be. Kingsley, Creed, don't get out too early. They're right in line with the line of scrimmage so that they don't get a legal man downfield. Brashard Smith made a really nice catch here as well. Had to Sky to go ahead and get that as well. So shout out to Brashard Smith using those wide receiver skills effectively. And getting downhill quickly with his speed is fun to watch for sure. This one here, a little bit of manipulation. I'm actually going to show it from this angle. A little bit of manipulation pre-snap where obviously everybody pretty much but Creed is looking like they're getting ready to get into their stance, not necessarily for the snap. And then the quick snap it out to Brashard Smith for the screen. And I'm going to go back to this copy of it where Brashard Smith kind of looking like he's going to come in motion. They snap it quickly. And again, everybody gets out and allows Brashard Smith to break a few tackles and get a nice little chunk play. He was close to breaking. He was close to
like, get through there.
Right? That one, bro, I swear that one last one, he was gone.
Oh my God.
He allied those, was able to break through those two tackles, gets past that guy. I mean, right here, man, he could have a shot at it. He just gets hung up there. That's just the one that he didn't get there. Caliendo couldn't get a piece of that the safety there, but I mean, this you could tell. I mean, it's similar to a lot of the returns. Like he's just close to getting that touchdown from a long game. To say the
he's
least.
so special with the ball in his hands, man. He just every time he touches the ball, he's just a threat to go to the end zone. That's why I was we got him.
I've kind of been wondering why Tobe hasn't been using him more in the return game, as far as on the kick return, maybe even the punt return.
That Detroit game was probably the first time I seen it. It was like exclusively like him and Nico, the two guys back there.
But I would definitely like to see him be featured a lot more in the return game because, like I said, he's got a knack and ability of just getting north and then just using his explosion to get through any crease and take off at that point. You can tell he's dying to get to open field just so he can blow past somebody.
Played it for a reason, man.
Yeah, really good job here. Just the offensive line getting out, and I know it's not the cleanest of blocks. Like Jalen Moore just shoves the guy a little bit, which is all you need in that case. Creed getting out there early and being able to seal that off, and Kingsley whiffs anyway. But like just really impressive athleticism from these guys in general. I actually don't mind him not doing punt returns just because he is kind of this important of a piece of the offense, in my personal opinion, to these gadget things. I think Nico has that down, but I'm definitely glad that obviously they continue to have both of them there on the kick returns for sure. Yeah. But again, like you said, the quickness, the suddenness in which he is able to get downhill with his speed is definitely impressive. This one, unfortunately, does end up missing as far as the jet sweep on the goal line. So we can roll past that. Was this it? Yeah, this was other little rollout screen again. 3 offensive linemen, all in line with the line of scrimmage, understanding, hey, we need to legally release right on time here. Gets it into his hands, and again, because you can see a little bit of go back to it for the vertical stretch aspect of it. Because of the vertical aspect of it, you got 3 receivers here that pulls these guys to the bottom of the screen as well. And then you got 3 at the bottom, you got 3 blockers. He's kind of taking the safety deeper. That helps you out as well. And then all of a sudden you got a good setup screen there and get you close to the first down yard. You end up getting in the first down there. I think it was on 3rd and 12 as well. Flipped it out there for Brashard Smith to be able to get you that first down. So again, and this is an aspect of the team that they really didn't have a little bit due to running back limitations, but also because they didn't really have the vertical stretch aspect that really threatened teams deep. That sets up the screen game on a consistent basis. So those are the screens, and I really wanted to show those just so we could see the attention to detail and the way which they use. But we can move on to the Rashee Rice aspect of it, because I think, obviously everybody's extremely excited to have Rashee Rice back for good reason, obviously. And everybody was hyped about it. And you saw early on that there was a clear emphasis to make sure that Rashee Rice got the ball in his hands early and often. And I want to ask you guys just, general thoughts. Like, how did you guys think of Rashee Rice's, return? How did he look? Were you guys, obviously impressed by what he was able to put on tape?
Yeah, I would throw caution to the wind to a lot of Chiefs fans, especially moving forward for the future. He's your number one. He's this offense. This is his offense now. Love the Yeti, man. I love what he's done for us.
It's been a great time, big fella.
It's been a great time, 87.
Pass that torch, gang.
Time to move out the way because the big 4 is here, and this is definitely his. You can clearly tell Andy Reid is definitely telling him, like, it's your time to take over and be the guy for us. So I love how they featured him, especially early on. This element here of being able to have him back in the red zone area, I think is, especially with his ability to be able to get yak yards as well too, and what he can do, especially in his route running continues to grow to a new level every year that we've seen him. He's got such great hands as well too. But this is I think this to me is his best ability in the game is his ability to just pick up yak yards and run tough. He's so tough to bring down as well too. And I think it's going to be something moving forward that they're definitely going to love to use. Creed Humphrey on this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see why you loved what Creed did. I mean,
yes,
this is not an easy block. To
Reach over there.
get to that second level there and make sure that you be a factor in the play. But he just absolutely erases the second level linebacker. Landon Roberts, man. I'll tell you what, Landon Roberts playing out there with the big old cast on his elbow. He had a tough day out there, to say the least.
Him and Devin White, because this next route, Devin White had a tough day.
And this is obviously, oh my god,
but that hezzy by Rashee is so tough,
that hezzy is so nice. Every single time he what's it called? He pops it out, man. It's beautiful. But it's the subtle nature of Rashee Rice underneath, because these and don't get me wrong, Rashee Rice can do things at the second and third levels, and we've seen that. And I think you'll see more of that than what you just saw here, because honestly, they didn't put a whole lot on tape, and I think that was by design as far as what they were able to do to the Raiders. But the subtleties that he has underneath are really impressive. For his smarts to understand where the space is, where the defenders are, and present himself to Mahomes very quickly, specifically, but also how to set up some of this stuff, because the little jab inside just to get the linebacker a little bit off, just to make sure that he understands, and the drifting a little bit right into space, and then being ready immediately to plant, drop back, get onto the other side, and be able to create a little bit of yards. Like that's just an innate understanding of the space and time of all the defenders and where he needs to be for Mahomes to deliver the football, that I really enjoy watching him work underneath as far as that aspect is concerned. And we know Worthy is fast. We know Hollywood Brown is fast. We know Juju is very, heady. But the combination of his explosiveness and his athleticism and the strength that he brings to the table, in addition to his smarts underneath, is just a different element to the underneath passing game as well. But the subtleties here that you're talking about, what he did to Devin White. And look, everybody's bailing out of the middle of the screen. Travis Kelce's down here. People are worried about the end. We're just stretching you horizontally and vertically. We got you one-on-one with the linebacker like we saw in the Ravens opener, obviously last year. This isn't a matchup that you're going to win. And just the subtleties, a little stutter step to start out, and then I'm going to give you an outside, and I'm going to just easily go inside. It's fun to watch. It is fun to watch Rashee Rice operate, man.
The angle here, showing it from this angle is even worse, because you see Devin White, and then you don't see Devin White anymore.
He in the screen? Out the screen.
In your frame? Out your frame. And he doesn't come back.
Goddamn, where'd he go?
Yeah, that move, man, the top of the route, you can just clearly tell how much he's growing, especially in his route running. I think it's only going to get better as the seasons go on. Right, man, I hate saying this because I don't like comparing players. But
this was the no look pass, by the way.
Doesn't he kind of gives you Jamar Chase vibes?
No, I was about to say he's one of the best to catch guys in the league.
I understand what you're saying.
And I'm saying that as any Bengals fan as well, I'm saying that as high praise, because like Jamar Chase to me is the standard. I think he's arguably the best receiver in the league. But the similarities of what they can do in their game, as far as being able to get yak, but also being able to win their one-on-ones, and I know for a lot of people, I think the knock on Jamar coming in the league was his ability to run routes and things of that nature or whatever. But the maturity of his route running year in and year in has made Jamar Chase obviously one of the better receivers in this league. And then combining that with being able to get yak yards now, it's phenomenal to see, and I think that's the route that Rashee is also taking at this point in time too.
Shout out to Rashee for being in shape too. It takes a lot of your mental to get in football shape, because there's nothing you can do to replace running and passing in a helmet. For St. Joe is a month down there, so for being in Florida, obviously doing his boxing workout, doing his own field, 2 a days, 3 a days, whatever he was doing to keep himself mentally and physically sharp, to come back and like DG said, look like he ain't miss a beat. Him and Pat picked up where they left off from preseason and training camp. Shout out to him for being mentally locked in for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. And I understand where you're getting at as far as the Jamar Chase thing, specifically for the explosion after the catch that is really impressive. And he just moves with a level of physicality, but also acceleration that is very impressive.
And guess who got them both on fantasy? This guy.
I'm just happy. Hey, look, man. Hey, Rashee Rice is helping me, man, because I lost Puka for a week, and I'm going to lose him this week because of the bye week. So I need to get Puka and Rashee Rice back together. But this route at the bottom of the screen here, I mean, this is another really good one. Just subtle fake outside, explosiveness inside. And if the linebacker doesn't, or the defensive lineman doesn't get his hand up, this is a touchdown in my opinion, because that's getting into that window. So again, just in here now, after I just beat you outside, now I'm going to go ahead and fake you inside and say I'm going to get you on the fade route and just beautifully paced ball by Mahomes. But this is something I don't think that we've seen a specific wide receiver with the skill set of Rashee Rice that can play this way, because he obviously did a lot at SMU and Sammy Watkins was close, but also had the innate trust that Rashee Rice has from Patrick Mahomes, even though it's only been 20 games. Yeah. And there's a reason why Rashee Rice, and I got to go find that as well. There's a reason why Rashee Rice has also been the most productive wide receiver that
20 games.
That in those first 20 games with Mahomes, and he just has that innate trust in him to make these types of throws to him. And I think that's great to see as well.
You can see, especially in Pat this year, that it's a lot less strain on him. I can kind of sense, like, you can tell he's having more fun playing in this offense this year now, knowing that, like, the weapons, not only having the offensive line too, but the weapons that I have to throw to now, and then the growing trust of him and Rashee and the connection that they have. I think he tremendously knows now, like, I got a guy on my team that I know at any point in time this kid can get open, and what he can do once he gets the ball in his hands is electric. So it's great to have, man.
And I really do love to see it, because it's specifically he didn't show much. There was a lot of bubbles. Obviously, did the pop pass and stuff. There is so many other layers that we saw to start specifically last year that I think when you see better opponents, you're going to see them work really into this, that really are going to impress you. So I obviously, it was a good first game back. He looks like he hasn't lost a beat, to say the least. And his first 20 career games for Rashee Rice, as far as notable Chiefs receivers, he's been the most productive guy, even more so than with Kelsey, even more so than Hill. And that's a note specifically for how much Mahomes likes to give him the ball, and obviously how much he can take advantage of it. So shout out to Rashee Rice, man. Good to have you back, to say the least. EGE, baby.
EGE.
So with that being said, we're going to touch on the offensive injuries. Obviously, like I said, Jawan Taylor out with this game due to a shoulder injury. It seemed to be a little bit later on in the game and didn't seem to be anything major. Seems like he'll be fine. Trey Smith, they said, had his back locked up at some point during the game, tried to stretch him out. We'll see, obviously, how that progresses as we go throughout the week. And that's pretty much it as far as the offensive injuries, fortunately. The Chiefs obviously are still without Josh Simmons. I would expect them to continue to be without Josh Simmons, probably at least until the bye week at this current moment in time. Jalen Moore has stepped up admirably. Obviously, Mike Caliendo stepped in last week very well. Any concerns as far as the depth along the offensive line really being tested from this perspective, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Trey being out is pivotal. Because honestly, you go from all pro level guard to Mike Caliendo, and we respected Mike Caliendo,
and he did a good job. He did a good job on Sunday.
He did a good job, but it ain't the same.
Right. Yes.
So definitely, hopefully that if Trey can figure out a way to get back out there, I know that he will. He's obviously a warrior. He's played through a lot of injuries already, so but definitely don't want to rush anything back, especially with a back. Seeing years ago Mitchell Swartz, that's something that ultimately killed his career. Trying to play with a bad back, and as a lineman, that I know that's something that it's physically impossible to do. So hopefully Trey, if he has to sit out these next couple of games, hopefully Caliendo can step in and be serviceable for them for these next few games, if that's possible. But that'd be the only, I guess, to be the only injury that I'd really be concerned on. I mean, we talk about the tackle position, but that's a different situation at this point in time anyway. So it'll get handled how it's handled. Hopefully Jalen Moore continues to play the way he's playing at this point. So, but yeah, hopefully the injuries get cleared up and we move forward, man.
Facts. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully Trey and Juwan come back. I think I'm more so concerned about the Trey one out of all of them because, like DG said, a back injury can be really scary. It can take you out for as long as a month, if not longer. So hopefully it's just, being precautionary, and obviously don't want to see him go back out there in a game that was pretty much in hand. So I think I heard from what I've seen on the timeline, Juwan Taylor's wasn't that serious. He could have came back if needed be. So hopefully the biggest news I'm definitely hoping for is prayers, obviously, for Josh Simmons. Hope he comes back ASAP and helps his situation, whatever he has going on with his family. Hope everybody's in good spirits. But definitely want to see Trey Smith get back out healthy because if anybody we lose, we had a backup plan for Jalen Moore for Josh Simmons if that happened. But I don't think we have a pretty good one for Trey Smith being out. So hopefully he's ready to roll on Monday night versus the Commanders for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the one. I mean, as long as Trey Smith's fine, I think they'll be okay. You obviously hope these tackles stay healthy because then the next guy is up to Wanya Morris. And it's not to say that Wanya Morris can't be a competent backup, but you just don't want that to be the reality of your situation. So, just obviously offensive line staying healthy is the one thing that we don't want to see any issues with, especially given how well this offense has been playing and how you can expect it to continue to explode, really, especially with the upcoming matchup, too. I did want to specifically point out there was a missed shot here, and I just wanted to point it out just for the fact that I thought that Mahomes did a good job putting it on the money. Obviously, they get Xavier Worthy with the underneath aspect of this, Travis Kelce on the backside as well. They open up Riley Tyquan Thornton running straight down the field. The thing that stuck out to me the most as far as watching this play specifically, though, look at how fast Xavier Worthy, who's in the tight split close to the tight end, look at how fast he gets up on this corner, man. Or the safety, I mean, the acceleration is awesome to watch. It took him like 3 steps to be right on the safety, right in front of him. I was impressed just watching that back on tape. So Mahomes got hit. Kingsley did have a loss there, but he still put it off his shoulder pad. Unfortunately, that Tyquan couldn't haul that in there. But the way in which they really accelerated on this play, I was just really impressed by, and had to point it out as well.
And he still almost has a hell of a play by the DB because Pat put that on the money.
Running back really quick.
Which angle?
The angle you were showing it from. I was watching Kingsley.
Oh, yeah.
Probably oversets just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, he tries to mirror him to the inside there. And he does a good job getting the defensive lineman does a good job just taking advantage of him being a little bit off balance there because of the overset, swims over top of him and is able to get through him. But hey, it's not an immediate loss. It is a little bit of a quicker loss, but it's not an immediate one.
Right.
Allows Pat to get the ball off. But yeah, so that's the only thing that I wanted to point out from that aspect of it. But shout out to Xavier Worthy. Continue to tough it out. He also made obviously an impressive play. On a play in which he grabbed a flag, then had the jump ball, had a little bit of an injury scare, but fortunately was fine and came back in the game afterwards too. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and flip to the defensive side of the ball. This was obviously a Raiders offense that came into the game struggling in a variety of ways. Certainly missing both Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers, who are their 2 biggest receiving weapons. And ultimately, the Chiefs had a dominance level that I did not think was really possible. The Raiders ran 30 offensive plays, which is the second fewest in a game, going all the way back to 1970. Only the 1999 expansion Browns in their first game losing to the Steelers was worse. This was just a complete domination in which Geno Smith didn't even really have a chance to throw an interception because there was nothing really open to him. In you guys' opinion, this is kind of playing a weakened Raiders squad, so I don't think there's anything too crazy to take away from it. Obviously, we're not going to discuss it from really a tape breakdown perspective, but any big picture takeaways from the defense, and I want to ask you guys just temperature check. Middle of the pack, good squad, good defense, below average, bad defense. Where does your overall takeaway as far as what this defense is at this point in the season?
I think in the secondary, I would say we're a really good defense. Linebacker play, with the way Leo's been playing, that's one of the best groups in the league, the way he's been playing. Pass rush, right now we're below average. I would like us to be better. We taking strides in the right direction. We're getting more sacks. We're getting more pressure on the quarterback the last few weeks, even though we've played guys like Jared Goff and Geno Smith, not the best athletes. Obviously, comparing it on the grading scale when you're playing against Lamar and, Josh Allen, the guys you would more likely going to see in the playoffs. But I think the best part of this defensive group right now, if I had to get it the highest grade, it'd be the linebackers. I think they're playing the best ball out of all the three levels right now, especially mainly because of the way Leo's been playing. He's just a versatile Swiss Army knife for us. But I think the secondary is playing at a good level. Once we saw them make the correct adjustments, putting McDuffie in the slot, Noah Williams getting his highest snap count outside, everybody's kind of in their proper spot, seeing Shamari back deep, Jaden Hicks roaming around the middle when he gets his opportunities. I think everybody's in their proper spot. The biggest thing out of anything, we kind of talked about it off air, if we're going to make additions or try to make the team better at the deadline, I say at the D-line room, we kind of had a debate on our reaction show. Would you rather be an edge or a D tackle? Me and DMac kind of agreed on what it should be. Anybody that's going to help the room better, I'm for it. But I think definitely the linebacker group has played the best out of the three levels if I had to pick one right now. At this point, didn't see them.
Yeah, I think overall it's a good defense. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't say they're one of arguably the best in the league. I know the statistics probably say a little bit different at this point in time. They are a top 10 scoring defense, which to me really matters. Which means once people get to the red zone and things of that nature, they bend but they don't break. So as long as you're not giving up points and things like that, yards in this league, that's going to happen. It's impossible for you not to be able to give up yards at points in time, whatever. But I do think the secondary, I think it's one of the better secondaries in the league, especially with having the likes of Trent McDuffie, the way that Jalen Watson has played as a CB2, and the emergence of the rookie and Noah Williams and how he stepped up and helped his secondary as well too. I think the safeties have been serviceable for this up to this point. I would love to see Jaden Hicks a little bit more out there. But Spags has his favorites at this time. But I think I agree with the linebacker group. I think they're arguably one of the best in the league. And you got such versatility in that linebacking group right now, especially with the emergence of Leo Chanel and the way he's played and just everything you can do with him, putting him on the edge, the way he plays in the run game, just everything that he's able to do. Defensive line, I would like a little bit more out of them. I think that the last couple of weeks they have played better, but at the same time, I really do think Veach is gonna have to go out here and make some kind of move or whatever to kind of elevate the play of that defensive line at this time, because I just think you need a little bit more juice, especially from the edge position, and maybe even from the interior position, especially now losing Omarr Norman-Lott for the season as well. So, yeah, I think that they're going to have to go out and do something at the deadline, and I think they will. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in both. They went out and did something at both of those positions, defensive tackle and the edge.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would say this defense probably still a little bit more middle of the pack for me. I'm concerned, again, as we talked about the pass rush ultimately, certainly in better matchups. And then, like you said, with Omarr Norman-Lott being out for the season now, it's like that's just a massive thing that they were relying upon at this point. They obviously put weight on because they wanted to be a 3-down player. I think that they were asking him to do a little bit too much of nose tackle, one tech type of responsibilities that he wasn't built for and wasn't responsible for at Tennessee and wasn't asked to do because of how good he was at being a chaos creator and be able to gap shoot and get after the pass rusher. And so I never really liked the plan from that perspective. And ultimately, I think that it has cost him Omarr, at least for its rookie year. And now it leaves you with a massive hole, it feels like, at the defensive line spot, given the fact that you're staring down Derek Nottie being the guy next to Chris Jones, and then behind him, Jerry Tillery, who, in my opinion, hasn't played all that well this year. And then, hey, you got some guys on the practice squad, obviously, with Tulu Lopu and Zach Pickens and Broderick Martin. We'll see how they handle that. Is going to be a question mark, too. So that's an issue. Like we said, the back end, because of the way that they're playing Noah Williams and not putting Shamari Connor in the slot on a consistent basis, is working itself out, which is good to see. And the linebacker core has played well. So, again, the back seven of this defense, I think, is good. It's just the front, because of how much Chris Jones is asked to carry, I don't think it's realistic. So that's kind of where I land as far as the defense is concerned. Again, I don't think there's anything crazy to take away from this game just because they dominated a Raiders team that really had no shot, in my opinion.
Shut up.
But shout out to them for the shutout. They did exactly what they were supposed to, and really took it a little bit above and beyond so that we could, rest some guys in this game. And I think it's a good thing that Chris Jones obviously only had, I think, 22 snaps ultimately, as far as that was concerned. So obviously we mentioned Omarr Norman-Lott injury. Unfortunately, got hurt on a play that was an unnecessary roughness that didn't have to do specifically with his injury. And ultimately he is torn his ACL out for the season, and wish him a speedy recovery. And we'll certainly talk about him next year. Praise up for him. Still a person that I think will be very important to the long-term success of this team, but unfortunately not going to be able to contribute anything else the rest of his rookie year. With that being said, there are a lot of rumors flying around, obviously, about certain replacements now, and obviously there were defensive line rumors before that. Diana Rossini, in her article in the Athletics, mentioned that the Chiefs are looking at defensive line over running back specifically to trade for him. I think we all unanimously agree that Colin Saunders makes a lot of sense as a stopgap solution, whether it's a trade or if they decide to cut him and being able to sign him back here. I certainly would prefer signing from that perspective, but we'll see. And they're not using him in Jacksonville, but they are a contending team, so we'll see how inclined they are to do such a move as well. There have been a lot of conversation around three specific edge rushers. Obviously, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips on a Miami team that is sinking, to say the least. Both are very intriguing options. Both have the money situations that would technically fit underneath the Chiefs' cap as it currently stands as well. And then Jermaine Johnson from the Jets, edge rusher, obviously from Florida State as well, on an expiring contract. So, again, I think that they needed to trade for an edge rusher to be a secondary pass rusher before this. I think that they now need to add a defensive lineman and an edge rusher personally. Can it be a Colin Saunders and another edge rusher? Sure, I think that's plausible, but you need two, in my opinion. Do you guys also agree that they need to add two defensive linemen? And again, how do you feel about some of the guys' names being floated out there as far as possible targets?
Yeah, I don't think you got a choice for real.
Non-negotiable.
You need depth and you need it fast, especially in the interior. With you losing Omarr Norman-Lott, really significant to me. A significant blow, especially from the pass rush perspective. I know they brought in Jerry Tillery, and I think he's played serviceably, in his position. But I'm not sure, ultimately he's going to bring that juice that they kind of need from a pass rush perspective. Obviously, you're not getting that from Derek Nandi for real as well either. So I would think that you would ultimately need to go out and find somebody. Colin Saunders would be a great get if they could go out and get him back, just because it's a guy that's familiar with the system, that thrived in this system as well, and knows what he's doing. Wouldn't have to really teach him anything at this point in time. And then I think as far as the edge position, I'm more inclined. Jermaine Johnson would be a home run hit of a trade for them at this point in time if they're able to get him. I think he fits into that Veach age factor that they kind of like, 26 years old, expiring contract. If he comes in and he plays well, you could end up having a guy at that position for the foreseeable future on a pretty decent deal if that's what you ended up ultimately wanting to do if he comes in here and he thrives. I think another guy too would be Carl Granderson from the Saints. Kind of fits in that age factor that Veach likes to, under 30, and is obviously the leading pass rusher in New Orleans at this point in time. Kind of fits the edge, the skill, the size of what Spags likes in his edges, and being able to be a lot bigger type of edge. So either one of those guys I think would be great. Bradley Chubb I would take at this point too, just with the experience of how he's played and the numbers that he's been able to put up. I know the injuries kind of come along with it, but yeah, I would definitely love to have him too. And Jalen Phillips is in the kind of same category for me as well too. The injuries stink, but at the same time, cheap player, and virtually just use him as a pass rush specialist at this point in time.
Yeah. There will be some time. Or CJ, do you have any? Sorry, I didn't give you a chance to speak on it.
No, all those guys. Yeah. All those guys were all definitely needs for this team. I think they all would be great additions. Another name you can add to the list would be Calais Campbell, a veteran. He's been in the league. I know he's 39, so obviously this will probably be his last go-round. So we've added older guys at this time of the year like Terrell Suggs or Melvin Ingram. We've done this before. So, or Carlos Dunlap, a veteran that's been in big moments. You can play, plug and play. You don't really got to teach him too much. Just kind of tell him his role. He's going to go out there and not be a distraction. So I love all the names DG said. If I had to rank them, probably preference of I would probably put Jalen Phillips at the top of the list, obviously. I think his explosiveness off the edge is ridiculous. I think he's one of the better rushers in the league. But I think more of like a Spags fit, it would probably be Chubb. I think Chubb or Jermaine fit what Spags likes to do, even though I think all of them could play here. But I think he's probably more of like a Spags body type as far as being physical enough to play the run and rush the passer as well. But I think the more realistic options, like DMac said and DG said, I think it would probably be a Colin Saunders, bringing Sir Bink back to KC, or maybe bringing a guy like I said, Calais Campbell, a veteran that's been there before, doing that route. I think the wild card is the one I mentioned the other day. If they want to bring in Christian Wilkins, you don't got to move any assets to get him. I know he has some off the field things, and obviously you want to make sure his foot is healing up correctly. So, but I think those are probably the more realistic options. Would probably be either Colin Saunders or Calais Campbell for me.
Yeah, and they'll be obviously the name I will throw out there is Malik Collins from the Browns. Obviously, I think that you could make a call from him to be able to be that defensive line aspect of it. But yeah, Jalen Phillips will be at the top of my edge rusher list. I do think he's better than Chubb and Jermaine Johnson. But to your point, Jermaine and Chubb maybe fit a little bit better from that perspective. So we'll see. Obviously, Chiefs have the upcoming Monday Night Football game against the Commanders. Maybe there'd be some time on Tuesday after that game to look at some of these guys if there hasn't been a trade made yet. For those that do not know, the trade deadline is Tuesday, I should say, November 4th. The Chiefs have a game on Sunday, November 2nd against the Bills. And so we'll see in between now and obviously November 4th what, if anything, does end up happening as far as some moves along the defensive line. In the immediate, though, between now and Monday night, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I would probably expect really the main thing is going to be, hey, we're just going to bring up one of these guys, whether it's Marlon or Broderick or Zach, and give them a shot to add to our defensive line depth. One thing I did want to throw out is a wrinkle, though, because I did find it intriguing. Jermaine Johnson's name has been brought up in a lot of different ways. Nate Taylor mentioned it at the end of Oliver games today, but there was also something that came across when obviously Omarr Norman-Lott was put onto the reserve injury list. They brought up Kevin Knowles and signed him to an active roster contract. Now, obviously, the last 2 weeks, Christian Fulton, who was the Chiefs cornerback signing this offseason, was a healthy scratch, it appears, because he was a full participant in practice. Nate Taylor also made reference to the fact that maybe this was an effort to make sure that he continues to be healthy up until the trade deadline. I'm not saying that that's going to happen or something that can be factored in, but the Chiefs, a team that is currently lacking a little bit of cap space, maybe they want to use that as the chip that ultimately can bring them back a defensive lineman or two. So we'll see where that progresses, of course, and see if that does end up coming to fruition. One thing I'll also say, anybody saying Jeffrey Simmons, anybody saying anybody at caliber, Quentin Williams, circumstances that happen, not realistic. It's never going to happen. That is the Cowboys trading for Max Crosby, by the way, which also isn't happening. The Raiders met with
that's hilarious.
met with Max Crosby and said that he's not being shot. So with that being said, we turn the page. Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. An interesting matchup, and one that is going to come with some interesting intrigue. Jaden Daniels recently left that Commanders lost to the Cowboys with a hamstring injury. Sounds kind of iffy on if he's going to be able to go, and if he doesn't, then that means that the Chiefs will see old foe Marcus Mariota returning to Arrowhead Stadium to play for the Commanders here. Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel both missed last week's game as well, so we'll see if both of those guys could possibly get back based on their practice status. Matchup for the Chiefs defense versus the Commanders offense that has struggled to run the ball on a consistent basis, hasn't really gotten cross-game Merritt going or McNichols from that aspect, and has obviously missed its wide receivers. And either way, whether it's Jaden or Mariota, we know that obviously the quarterback's legs will be a piece of the game plan based on how Cliff is going to scheme it up.
It's really kind of hard. I mean, their go-to weapon right now has been Zach Ertz, and he's 35 years old. He's about 36, actually. So that's really like their run game has been solid. I know they've been having like a three-headed monster with McNichols, Rodriguez, and Krosky Merritt, like DMac said. So if JD5 is not out there, they don't have to run a different offense because Marcus Mariota is that same similar athlete. So they don't got to change too much. But I would hope that either Terry or Debo could play for their sake, because if they're both out, I don't see how they survive this game, fellas. Honestly, we thought Sunday was nasty with that shutout. We could be looking at back-to-backs. I don't see how they're going to move the ball if they don't have either one of those guys on the field. It's going to be very tough for them. So Marcus Mariota, we know him very well. We played him a lot, obviously, when he was in Tennessee. But yeah, if they're not really the greatest running football team, and if your weapons are Lane and obviously Zach Ertz and not a lot of big names on there on offense, so they've been struggling to say the least for sure. So not really too much of a threat on offense, especially if JD5 not out there. So
yeah, I don't. If I'm looking at it from a Commanders fan perspective, I'm not sure what answers I can really come up with, especially with Terry and Debo Samuel being out, if that's the case, and then especially if you're losing Jaden Daniels being out as well too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws at this point, and that's not trying to be cocky or anything from the Chiefs side of it, but it's just I don't really know where you kind of lean into for an identity, especially on the offensive end if you're the Commanders. But obviously, Chiefs will still have a job to do. Whoever gets out there on that field, they still have to go out there and make a game plan for to kind of stop. Can't come into this game lax and thinking, Commanders are just going to lay down and hand the game to you or anything like that. So still have to execute your game plan, what you would like to do. Take away, obviously, the best weapon that they could have, maybe in a Zach Ertz or Jacarski Merritt or somebody like that, at this point. So, yeah, we just have to shut down whoever they're gonna put out there at this point in time. I'm not really. I really wish I could sit here and say. I mean, if Terry and Debo was playing, I have a lot more to talk about, but I don't know if they're gonna play.
If they don't play, it's gonna get real ugly for them for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to point out, certainly from that perspective, like if Terry's out there, then that is a real legit weapon on the outside that is going to be difficult to contend with. And if Debo's there, then he's going to get a lot of gadget touches to be able to be used underneath. And it's going to be a little bit of an issue from that perspective, too. Commanders have been one of the better teams. I think they are literally right underneath the Chiefs with 6.3 big plays per game, and the Chiefs are at 6.4. So they've been able to generate some of those big plays. But again, if you don't have Jay Daniels, then that limits what you can do from that perspective. And obviously, if you don't have Terry and Debo, then that significantly limits what you can do from that standpoint. I will say this. They have some weaknesses on the offensive line. I think that the Chiefs need to take advantage of that. Now, again, not having the defensive lineman to take advantage of that is going to be a question mark. But make sure the quarterback legs, whichever quarterback it is, doesn't kill you. It's going to be a major piece of it for me. And then, hey, just play solid coverage across the board no matter which wide receivers are out there. I believe in this back end as long as they continue to do the job at a high level like they have been. So as far as the Chiefs offense versus Commanders defense. One note here, Dorrance Armstrong, who's played very well for them in the edge last year and coming into this year, did go on season-ending IR, so he obviously will not be playing in this game. They've gotten some solid contributions from Johnny Newton on the interior defensive line. Their linebackers, in my opinion, have continued to leave a little bit to be desired. Bobby Ryder can be taken advantage of. Luvu is a little bit more of the chaos player as far as that linebacker crew is concerned, and they have issues struggling a lot, in my opinion, on the back end. Lattimore seems to be past his prime, to say the least. Amos and Aaron still. Saren Still's been a pretty solid nickel player. Amos has been he's gotten God as an outside cornerback, and their safeties leave some stuff on the field too. So I think there are opportunities certainly for this Chiefs offense to get after him. What do you guys see for the matchups on that end?
I think the biggest matchup to me is over in the middle of the field in that linebacking core. If you can take advantage of an aging Bobby Wagner at this point, I think that's kind of where you have to lean in towards. And that's, oh man, seeing Rashee Rice against Bobby Wagner.
Well, good luck, son.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Dan Quinn is one of the better defensive minds in this league. So I'm assuming that, they'll have some kind of game plan that they can kind of lean into to try to slow us down at this point in time. But is it just me or are they really old on that side of the ball.
They are. I think they're one of the oldest rosters in the
league. They're old on the entirety of the roster, to be perfectly honest.
And mainly that is because of, like you said, Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz. That's what's taking their average age rate going up.
Anyway, losing Dorrance Armstrong is a huge piece for them. Obviously, I think at this point in time, he was probably their best pass rusher that they had on that defensive line. You obviously have an aging Von Miller, who we've seen numerous amounts of times up to this point, so you kind of know what he brings to the game. But I mean, they're obviously going to come out motivated and ready to play this Monday Night Football and in Arrowhead Stadium or whatever. Especially coming off a loss to Dallas where they kind of got embarrassed or whatever. So you expect them to be angry and kind of pissed off at this point. But yeah, you just got to go out there and take advantage. And I think the middle of the field is probably where you could probably take advantage of the Commanders at this point in time for them. So that's where I'll be kind of keying in on. I'm not sure how are they against the run. I haven't even
not that great. I think that's probably the better aspect of their defense because they've been giving up a lot of yards the last couple of weeks. Yeah. They're especially weak versus screen game. The last few running backs and guys who catch the ball short have had a lot of good days against them. They've been giving up a lot of 20-yard catches the last few weeks. I just look at Pickens. CD.
And George.
If it wasn't pouring down, Swift and Rome Odunze could have had more as well. DJ Moore had a solid day. So if CD and Pickens are doing that to you, I would definitely take one of our prop bets for our trifecta, definitely taking Taekwon longest reception this week because they've been giving it up to almost everybody they play. So they could definitely take advantage of this defense in their secondary. They haven't really been great at stopping the run. They probably don't blitz at the highest rate because they do. They know they're going to get beat. They don't really have any DBs that can truly play one-on-one coverage. So from a secondary, and we said this last week, when we get these guys back, especially Rashee, these next few weeks, you can kind of experiment a lot on offense and try to get Brashard Smith his touches because from a defensive standpoint, they don't really offer you too much resistance. I know they got Deron Payne, who's been playing good, solid ball for them this year, but on the defensive level, they haven't really been getting too many stops on many offenses. So a lot of the players over there are older, like we said, not really too much of an elite pass rush. The corners are man best, and this was the same defense they had last year. Their offense was just scoring at such a high level that overcame for what the defense lacked, and now the defense is kind of getting exposed. So I think from a matchup standpoint, we could truly do a lot of things, man. I can see Brashard Smith getting involved heavy and more so in this game. Rashee, Zay, and Hollywood are going to get their normal touches, and it could be another big day for the offense, man. They don't really put up too much resistance. They give up a lot of big plays, and they don't tackle very well. They let every time essentially it felt like CD or George Pickens touched the ball, the first person did not bring them down or even get close, for that matter. So,
yeah, I mean the Commanders have been more of a heavy zone team to this point in the season,
as they should be.
Right, they run man about 31% of the time, most of that being cover one specifically, and then they do major a lot as far as cover three, and then a little bit of cover six too. So they've been a defense that's more middle of the pack, and they've been pretty okay. And again, pretty much bang on average as far as success rate is concerned. So down to down, but they have given up a lot of, big plays, which has hurt their, overall EPA per play numbers, which is why they've more so been in the bottom third of the league as far as that aspect is concerned. So you can get them from some explosive plays. And certainly if they're going to live in that middle field closed type of world, it presents opportunities for defenses to get after them as well. And look, if you're going to play heavy zone against this Chiefs offense right now, you're going to be in trouble.
Ooh.
Good luck.
You are going to have some significant issues with trying to deal with the vertical stretch, the horizontal stretch, and then Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce in the middle of the field.
You saw what that did for Detroit.
Play that zone you want to.
It's going to be very difficult to be able to stick with this team. So, and like I said before, like zone coverage is kind of all you got because you're not going to find cornerback rooms that got the corners to stick with all three of these guys and four of these guys and five of these, six of these that we can put out there right now. That's the reality of the situation too. So, and we'll get into these in some of the more difficult matchups too as we go on from that too. But yeah, so that's it as far as the Commanders are concerned and what the matchup looks like. Let's go ahead and get to the Tell True trifecta. What do you guys take in this week and what you want to bet on?
Longest reception for Tyquan Thornton for me. Lock it in. He's going to hit that. Cashed it last week, so take it again.
Do they not have the number ones yet? Oh. If anything, I'd probably say. I mean, I think the trend continues with Pat over on his passing touchdowns at this point. I think this is obviously the strength of this offense, passing the ball. So it wouldn't surprise me again if he throws for 2 at this point. So I probably would lead at that.
This will probably be the last week you can catch that line at 1.5 DG.
Yeah,
it's probably 2.5.
If he continues to throw 2, it's going up to 2.
It's gonna be 2.5 after this week. They're gonna nuke it when we play the Bills. Watch.
Right. Yeah, and then I would take the under.
Because then he's gonna run one in like we've been doing all year.
I like both of those. I'll probably I'm tempted to go with a little Kareem Hunt, anytime touchdown. I think that they'll have a chance to get into the end zone. Actually, let me double check something real quick. As far as what their red zone performance has been for defense, because I'm interested from this aspect. The Chiefs have actually been pretty ruthless. I think I saw the stat that they are now 12 for the last 14 red zone trips in converting them into touchdowns, which is incredibly impressive in the way in which they've been able to do that so far. Which, hey, it's exactly what you're supposed to be able to do, man. Because when you put 7 on the board, it puts a whole lot of pressure on the opposing team from that aspect. Washington's been pretty solid, about 13th in the league as far as red zone defense. So, but yeah, I think Kareem Hunt goes out there and gets himself a nice little touchdown. So I'll go Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. DG will go with Patrick Mahomes, 2 TDs at the very least, and then CJ is going with Tyquan's longest reception as well. Let's go ahead and get to X Factor game picks.
X Factor. I'll say I'll go with the Yeti this week, man.
Yeah.
Middle of the field. Like I said, I think it's something, old against old in there. So we'll see how the old wily veterans go at it, him, Bobby Wagner, or whatever.
Old against old is crazy.
Old against old, baby.
But yeah, I think this is a matchup that Travis Kelce obviously have one of his better, and I think he's been playing a lot better over these last couple weeks or whatever, especially with the limited touches that he's had over these last couple of weeks, and I think that's obviously helping him to this point.
Absolutely. So
not having to put so much stress on him, but I think this could be a week where you see a nice 5 or 6 catch game for 70-something yards for old Trav. So I'd probably say X factor for me would be Trav. I've been bad on game picks this year. But I'll go Chiefs. I'll say Chiefs 20. Chiefs 28. Commanders 17.
Okay.
I think it'd be one of those types of games. Maybe it's close early on and Chiefs pull away at the end or something of that nature.
X factor for me, I'm gonna go Chris Jones. I mean, it's not really a crazy X factor, but it's a bad old line. I mean, the Dallas doesn't have really to any great elite pass rushers, and they were getting pressure in Jaden Daniels' face and Marcus Mariota all night. So I could definitely see Chris Jones got a sack this past Sunday. I could see a 2-sack performance from him this week. This is a bad old line. They haven't really protected their quarterback all well. They're going to be in a pass-heavy script because of the fact I would suspect us to score early and get a lead. So that'll be on my X factor. Definitely want to see Sack Nation get back going and get that streak going. Then my game pick,
Nick Allegretti.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Wiley. So we get to see the old guys out there. So the old Chiefs. Let me see. Game pick. I'm gonna go Chiefs 31. Commanders if this is obviously debating if Jaden Daniels doesn't play. Without Jaden Daniels, I'll say they score 10. With Jaden Daniels, I'll give them 13.
Damn. I mean,
it's mainly because from what I've heard, I don't expect Debo or Terry to play this week. So it's like
Yeah.
quarterback and no quarterback. If you don't have the guy to throw the ball to, he has a pulled hamstring. Even if he does start the game, is he even going to finish the game? So it's like it's a bad look for me the way. So I don't want him to play because I don't want to see him get hurt any more than he already is. So I don't fully expect him to finish the game if he is out there. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I personally I don't blame you for that take either. I think that 13 is the right number if Jaden Daniels doesn't play, and if he does, then I'd probably give him 17, maybe 20. I think this Chiefs offense against this Commanders defense is going to put up 30 plus. I got it 35. Commanders 13/20. I'll say I'll give 20 if Jaden does play. 13 for Mariota.
I like it.
They got y'all getting smoked, Manders.
X Factor. Can I get any semblance of life from George Karlaftis? I'm
George,
sorry.
get a sack, please.
I mean, it was a bad offensive line for the Raiders, and I just didn't see anything, man. I just didn't. They've got to get the secondary pass rush going. They just have to. The Commanders' offensive line is fine. It's not spectacular. And it's not bad, but they got to get some going. Any signs of life from George Karlaftis would be nice. Jerry Tillery's got to step up. Obviously, we know Omarr and Norman-Lott, to say the least, as well. And then on offense, man, you could pick any X factor under the sun at this current moment in time, to be perfectly honest with you, given the way that they use these weapons. But I'll specify. I do think that this is going to be a very nice game for more Brashard Smith to be used, because I think you'll have a lot of mismatches on the linebackers too. So X Factor Brashard Smith, X Factor George Karlaftis, and I think the Chiefs do win this game handily as well. With that being said, we can go ahead and get to the Tell the Truth Power Rankings. Last week, Bucks #1, and we saw that win on Monday Night Football. All right.
Nobody likes this one spot. That's why I'm nervous to put us in it.
Yeah, really. Chiefs for 2, Seahawks for 3, Packers 4, Colts 5, Pats 6, 7, Lions, Rams 9, Steelers 10. Steelers 9, sorry, Falcons 10. After the Steelers lost on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. #1 team. Are we putting us here? Or are we going to the
Colts?
Are you saying the Colts?
Put the Colts there.
Destroy the Chargers.
That's what I've been hearing all week. They're the best team in the league.
Colts move up to #1. I think Chiefs and Seahawks can actually stay at 2 and 3. I think that's kind of fine. Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's what the Seahawks did on Monday. Boy.
I think we're good at that. Lions move up to 5 after 4 or 5. Maybe Rams move up. Rams destroy the Jaguars. Or have we Rams, Lions, Packers for the next 3 spots? How you guys feel about those guys?
I'd probably say Lions to me, that the bounce back from obviously losing on Sunday night to beating who we had as our #1 team, the next week, and then not in a I feel like in a pretty dominant fashion.
Mm-hmm. They controlled the game.
Yeah. Them and the Rams both dominated. I probably lean Rams just because they made the Jaguars look in. They looked awful. So either team right there, I'm cool with Rams or Lions. They both dominated this week. I probably lean Rams, but either one is cool.
All right, so we'll go Rams 4, Lions 5. Do we want to keep the Packers over the Pats, or do we want to move or keep the Pats at 6? How do you guys?
Who the Pats beat this week? Tennessee.
I would move the Pats up. I know a lot of people are going to sit here and say, well, they played bad teams and blah, blah, blah. They've dominated bad teams.
They're winning.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to dominate bad teams, and they've done that. So,
I'm not mad at it.
They've been balling.
Are we still saying that the Bucks deserve to stay in the top 10? And then we also got I'm not putting the Bills back up there because we just dropped them out. Eagles had a very nice performance. Bucks, Eagles, Niners.
I'd probably say Niners deserve to be in there. All those injuries, man.
They still
5-2 is absolutely insane to me. Shout out to
amazing coaching.
Kyle Shanahan's coaching his ass off.
Yeah, man, solid for sure. Solid is the backbone of that defense, man.
Yeah, for sure. That connection was back needed. He needed to go get Solid back.
Boy.
So I'm feeling this. Finishing out: Colts 1, Chiefs 2, Seahawks 3, Rams 4, Lions 5, 6 Pats, 7 Packers, 8 Niners, Bucks 9, and Eagles 10 for the Tell the Truth Power Rankings as well. Do we have anybody later rest?
Geno Smith.
To the Raiders, the entire Raiders,
the entire organization,
entire team,
all of you.
Lay them to rest.
All of you.
Is there somebody? Oh, Tua Tiger, my Lord, Tua turn the ball over.
3
days life.
Yeah, man.
Took the under on those.
I'm getting worried because I'm starting to think Quinn Ewers is probably gonna end up starting.
He gonna play.
I need Tua to throw one more.
For the bet. He needs to
get one more pick to it.
So,
he needs to get to 10.
Please, Mike McDaniel, don't start Quinn
Ewers just yet. Give him one more game.
Give it one more week, but yeah, that game in Cleveland, Tua.
It was 31 to. And it was somewhat to be expected, but my goodness, just awful, terrible, disgusting performance by Tua. So Raiders, belt to ass.
Sayonara.
Straight belt.
Justin Fields.
Sayonara.
I'm not gonna lie.
Justin, he got bent for Tyrod. That's tough.
That's tough, man. So a few to later rest, unfortunately there. And Brian Callahan, I don't know if we even did that. I don't even know if we did Brian Callahan. We did Brian Callahan, but just to be sure.
You and your son, both of y'all.
Yeah. Both of y'all, sayonara. They get your life. As far as Tell the Truth laid to rest as well. It was a tough week for some of these blowouts, I'll say the least. Boy, I enjoyed every second of blowing out the Raiders. Underdog, NBA opening night tonight. NBA action is back. Obviously, everybody else in what's it called? Is showcasing tomorrow night. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up code Truth3, $100 deposit match. Make sure you guys get on that as well. Boostober is going on every single day. You're seeing new boosts come through. Make sure you guys sign up over there on Underdog Fantasy. And of course, Wings and Things Game Day Box. Monday Night Football. Go ahead over there and get you your little Game Day Box. Make sure you tell them Kingdom Cast sent you, of course, obviously coming up for this Commanders game. Anything else, guys, before we go ahead on out of here?
I know the story is kind of weird, but I do want to say, man, RIP to Doug Martin, man, muscle hamster. I don't care what the story is. Never want to see anybody go or whatever. I'll let that play out in the laws.
Way too young to
play out, but yeah, way too young to be passing away, man. So RIP. My prayers and thoughts are with his family. So
they're 36 years old. Absolutely a shame, man. Shame. And honestly, that story is ever evolving. We'll see what ends up happening as far as what comes to light, but tragic no matter what ended up happening to have him pass away at that young of age, man.
Facts. R.I.P. man.
I think that's it as far as what we got for Tell the Truth for tonight, man. We will be back obviously next week recapping what will be a Washington Commanders game, and we'll see if anything happens in the intermediate for this roster as well. For DG, CJ, I'm D-Back, man. Peace out. Go Chiefs.